Hi everyone. Sorry it's taken a little while, but here we are with match 4, game 3. And as you recall, we are into the Crawford game, right? And White has managed to march all the way to 6 nothing to 7 in the first couple of games. And now Black is on the brink. So, one thing to consider, I think we've had this before, but in the Crawford game, the score of the trailer is kind of important, right? So if the trailer is on an odd score, like 1 or 3, then it's in his interest to go for a gammon and not just play for a simple win, okay? Because that will allow him to kind of save a game. He won't have to play as many games to get to try to win, to come back and win. But now in this situation, the trailer is at an even score. So whether he's at 0 or 2, okay. In this case, he's at 0. So it doesn't make much difference whether he wins one game or wins a gammon, okay? Because if he wins a gammon, he's at 2, okay, the odd score. And if he wins 1 point, then, the leader has a free pass, so he could make it 2 automatically very quickly, and they're at the same score anyway. So there's no need to take an extra risk to win a gammon at the score. The trailer just wants to win a game and get into post Crawford. Okay, so let's watch and see if the match is over or whether Black can stage a comeback. But in any case, I think you'll find the game quite exciting. Some interesting turn of events and some interesting things to think about and principles that I mentioned. So enjoy and learn, and leave some comments if you have anything to say or any questions to ask. Thanks very much. Okay, here we go. It's Crawford game. Okay, and Black is at 7 away. So White gets the first roll, 6-2, and runs, which is kind of usual, though XG says bring one out and bring one down. That's also okay at the score. 3-2, not ideal, but it's still early. Black correctly, brings up 2 checkers. That's fine. But there are a number of decent things here, and bringing one down from the midpoint is also fine. You're not worried about getting hit at this early stage, with White not having much development. Okay, White double hits. Okay, seeing if it'll stick. If Black enters without hitting back, then White can make a home board point, and this is kind of what we say, like fighting for the initiative. Okay, taking away some of Black's intentions in terms of their game, and keeping Black on the back foot and taking away some of his useful rolls, that kind of thing. Ouch, Black's bad luck continues. He must be cursing the dice gods, right, by now, after losing, some massive games and now double 6 from the bar with 2 checkers on there, right? Okay, so let's see if White can just blitz out the victory for the match. Okay, White covers and brings another builder down. But yes, Black responds quite well. A massive joker, right? Double 4s from the bar and double hit. And the game is turned around. White enters with 2 checkers. And here's a double 6 again, this time a little more useful than the last one. But yeah, it's interesting that Black is able to consolidate his position, and he's got sort of an instant 4 prime, but doesn't really have any home board points yet. So White is still very much in this game, especially since he's still got a straggler here that White can attack, and there's plenty of space for White to make a better anchor. Okay. 6-3 is a bit of a dud. Yeah. And slotting the 4-point looks fine. XG kind of likes bringing a checker to the edge of the prime. Okay. Just in terms of flexibility, being able to play a good 6 would help, right? Or perhaps even anchoring up there if he's not hit. But yeah, it seems like slotting the 4 is okay as well. Double 2s, okay. And yeah, definitely making the 4-point, okay, is on. But then XG just prefers to safety the straggler. One of the ideas, I think, is that in this situation, Black really wants to make the 5-point. Now, making the 4-point is good, okay? But at some point, he wants to make the 5-point, so having this spare checker remain here is better, right, as a builder, instead of playing what Black played, right, which is taking that spare checker and putting it on the 4. So I think that's probably one of the considerations as well. It is interesting here that, you know, even though it's common to make the 5-point and 4-point, it's much more important to shut in White's checkers here. Yeah. True, it's good to have those points, but then if you open this, then White has a chance to jump out. Yeah? So in this case, just making the 4-point is fine. Okay, White rolls a 6-1. White decides to make the 23-point, which is fine, right? Because you know, there's a bit of an issue in terms of clearing this point if White has made this point. But XG also says that slotting the 5-point is something worth considering. 5-4, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of surprised about this, but you know, it's okay. But putting a 5th checker on the 6-point, you know, doesn't seem to me to be optimal, especially since you don't have to worry too much about being hit at this point. White's home board is not that strong, and so there's lots of different options. XG likes this one the most, where you optimize, like maximize the builders for the 5-point. And just leave one blot to a 1. Well, of course, there's 4-6 or 3-6, but not that many numbers hit. And again, there's lots of return shots if Black gets hit. Even just bringing 2 checkers down, right? You really want to make that 5-point and complete the 6 prime. And it's worth taking a little risk, not a huge one. But again, it doesn't seem like it's a big mistake, right? Just to safety this checker. So that's kind of interesting. I'm a little bit surprised by it. Double 1s is an interesting decision. White decides to just strengthen his home board, but XG kind of prefers to make the advance, a little more advanced anchor, yeah? Come up to the 22-point. I suppose it's partly due to the fact that White is not that far behind in the race to play kind of a back game, you know, leaving his checkers very far back here. Really, you would need sort of a bigger gap in the race to do that. So I guess the plan is, you know, XG says, make this point, then put this checker here and be prepared to jump out, because otherwise your home board is going to crunch maybe by the time, you know, before you get a chance to get a hit. Okay, that's probably the thinking here. But notice it is a close decision. Yeah, it's not bad, not bad. And having that strong home board is also something that you know, you can't really sneeze at. Yeah. So 6-3, this is kind of interesting. XG really doesn't like bringing 2 checkers down. Of course, there are, you know, some hits, right? 4-5, 3-5, yeah. So I'm a little surprised by this. This seems rather a harsh kind of penalty, right, to the PR, this move. I guess it's partly because, you know, it's worthwhile to make a point. You're going to have to make points, so this is a good opportunity to use one of those checkers on the 6 point, put it to use. Okay. But yeah, I'm a little surprised by it. Perhaps you have a comment. You can leave a comment if you can elucidate why this, you know, why 13-10, 13-7 is considered such a poor move, almost a blunder. Okay, so anyways, black does make the correct move, and kaboom, white hits. And you know, black is, you know, obviously it's a much closer game here, but black could be in some trouble if white can put together a few good rolls and black manages to stay out. But lo and behold, black pulls off the 1-6 from the bar, and white stays out. So now white is in serious trouble. It is kind of interesting, right? This idea of, you know, what is good luck? You know, because yeah, it's good luck that white hit black's blot, fantastic. But then all of a sudden, kaboom, kaboom, and white's good luck has turned into really a bit of a disaster. So really be careful. You know, withhold your judgment about good luck in the course of a game, because things can turn around so quickly. And what seems like good luck, like a hit, you know, could end up being good luck for your opponent, right? It's so, you know, that try to keep that in mind. It'll help you get through the vicissitudes of, you know, of luck during a game, especially, and in a match as well. You know, at the end of a match, you could look at the luck rating and complain a little. You know, sure, it happens, but don't let it affect you too much during a game. Okay, because what initially seems like bad luck or good luck could easily be turned around, right? So try to avoid getting emotionally involved in the individual luck related to, you know, single moves and single rolls, things like that. Okay, 5-1, and black correctly goes after these two checkers, and you know, he doesn't want white to anchor. Now, it seems like it might be a little risky because white does have a 4-point board, but you know, keeping white from that anchor is quite important. And you know, there's so many blots around, right? White blots around that black can afford to really go big on this play, even though according to the score he doesn't need a gammon. I mean, in a sense, this kind of gives him the best chances for a backgammon. If he were to win a backgammon, like putting all these blots up on the bar and closing them out, that would be worth a lot, right? That would save him a game. So that's also part of the rationale behind this move, going big. Well, white is able to enter with one checker, and black comes in and hits, and white is able to anchor. So white is still going to be in the game till the end, even though it might take a little while to get these blots back into play after they're on the bar. 6-4. Okay, this is kind of interesting. It makes sense, of course, to make the 2-point, fine. But generally speaking, keep this in mind, okay, that when you have a checker behind some kind of decent prime, if you're able to jump over it without compromising your position or taking, you know, a huge risk, then you should generally do it in this situation, because if with a little bit of experience, you do encounter these situations where you roll double fives or double fours, and your position over here just like falls apart, and you still haven't got him over. And then white has some control over the outfield, and it's a long slog all the way. So generally speaking, you want to jump out when you have the chance, as long as you're not taking too big a risk. Keep that in mind. So that's what XG says. XG says jump over and hit. Put another checker on the bar. And at least you're out from behind the prime. Okay, and a lot of numbers play fine after that. Okay, white comes in with 1. And again, XG says now definitely, even though you've got these 2 blots and white has only 1 checker on the bar, it is time for black to do the lover's leap and go all the way and just make sure that checker isn't trapped in the back. Okay, so yeah, quite a sizable mistake this time. It's partly this idea also that black is kind of giving up outfield control here, right? And white could very much enter, let's say white enters and hits this checker. Okay, and now black has 2 checkers behind a 4 prime, and white has basic like control of the outfield. Okay, it's not going to be so easy to to bring this position home to victory. So that's kind of the idea here. That's why it's such a big mistake. But anyways, white can't enter. And black comes out finally. Lots of 6s for him, so he's okay. Not a big difference between these two. I guess by playing to 13, you duplicate 1s. I suppose that's the rationale. But white can enter anyways. Okay, there's another checker on the bar. Can enter. With this one, yeah, this is another principle you should remember. Like, our kind of reflex action is to play safely. Okay, especially when we're in the lead and our opponent, we're going to win the game and our opponent has a strong home board position like here. We just, by reflex, we play safely, but there's no reason for black to play safely here. And keep in mind that black still wants to make the 5 point. So you want to play in such a way that you maximize the numbers to make the 5 point. Okay, and in order to do that, you shouldn't put this checker here, right? You should just leave it there so that 4s could help to make the 5 point, and just move this checker instead. So you've got this array, to make the 5 point. No need with white having 2 checkers on the bar. There's absolutely no risk of doing this, right? Well, I wouldn't say absolutely none, but very, very small risk involved here. Okay, so remember that. Be careful about your reflex of playing safe when you don't need to. Just aim for flexibility instead. Okay, white brings in 1 checker, and oh, interesting, black misses. And notice here that it's wrong for black to play completely safe here. Black might think, oh no, I have to be careful. 1-6, 1-2, 5-2, right? If I play this move, or sorry, 5-3, 1-3, but it's actually not completely safe to leave the 2 checkers on the 7 point, because you might roll a 6 and a 2, right? Anyways, there are numbers that are not very good here. So you might as well clear while your opponent is on the bar. There are very few numbers that enter and hit. Okay. And black plays correctly, right? And white can enter. And black makes the 5 point finally. Very last chance, and he makes it and puts white up on the bar again. So now white has to be a little careful, right? Because, well, there's not much he can do. He's depending on the dice, but, you know, a backgammon is, you know, not highly likely, but it's in the air, right? We're talking about 15%. It is interesting here that the pick and pass is actually a little higher rated, okay? We kind of automatically make that 5 point. But keep in mind that it's not always easy to, if you don't have spares on the 6 and 5, to clear the 6 and 5 points. There's some risk involved, okay? So it is interesting. Automatically we'd make, right, make the 5 point, but XG says pick and pass is worth considering. So what did we talk about before about automatic moves? Yeah. It's always worth considering alternatives, you know, especially towards the end game. Okay, white can enter, and black takes 2 off. He clears the 6 point correctly. White can enter, black clears the 5 point. 1 checker in. 2 checkers off, and now the backgammon is not looking very likely, is it? Okay. 2 checkers off. Yeah, white just is focused on not losing a backgammon, so he gets both those out. Checker off. And 5-2, yeah. XG actually says, you know, it's worth considering just taking one of the back checkers out. Okay, you're going to lose a gammon, it's almost for sure, but don't risk losing a backgammon. You know, who knows if you start rolling 2s and 1s with 2 checkers back there like that, bad things could happen. You definitely don't want to risk losing a backgammon. Okay, 6-4, 2 off. Definitely white has to run from the back now, no doubts. Okay. 4-1, 6-2. White isn't quite leaving yet, right? He's still hoping for a chance, and he gets a chance. And black has to leave a blot. Okay. But in this case, it's interesting, right? Black actually makes a blunder, and he hits and doesn't take any checker off. And the idea is that, you know, you might as well, you know, play for the backgammon and making that extra point, because double 2s, double 1s, 2 1s, you know, that's what, 5 rolls, right? 5 rolls, and then you roll a double, and the backgammon is still in play. It's worth giving it a try. You've got to leave a blot anyways, so you might as well do it this way and give yourself a little more chances of pulling off a backgammon. Yeah. The other problem, of course, with this move is if white hits, okay, black has more of a chance of entering, and then let's say he rolls a 2-1 or something like that. White has chances of picking up a second blot, and by making the 1 point, you don't really have as many chances like that. Okay, even if white rolls a 3, then it's pretty unlikely that black's going to leave another blot. Whereas with this move, there are chances of that happening. Yeah. Okay. So unnecessary risk by black here. It doesn't matter if white misses. Okay. So it's not going to be a backgammon in any case. So yeah, the game's over. White just gets off the backgammon and black wins a gammon, but that's fine. It doesn't matter to white whether he loses 1 point or 2 at this score. Okay, so black has finally managed to win a game, and so now it's 5 away, 1 away. And we go into post Crawford. Hope to see you then. Hope there were some interesting lessons to learn from this game. And yeah, it was a bit touch and go for black, but he pulled it off in the end. Let's see if he can pull it off, pull off a comeback for the match. See you next time.